My family called me ungrateful for not attending my stepsister's baby shower while I was working double shifts, so I didn't argue. And one move later, they regretted every word. I didn't go to my stepsister's baby shower. And apparently, that made me ungrateful, bitter, and selfish, at least according to the family group chat that blew up the next day. What they didn't mention in all their furious texts was that I'd just finished my second 12-hour shift that week. I work nights as a hospital custodian, and the shower was scheduled smack in the middle of a Saturday afternoon when I was supposed to be asleep before another double. But that didn't matter, because it's family, and family makes time. Let me rewind. My name's Jordan. I'm 27. Grew up mostly quiet, didn't cause problems, stayed under the radar. My parents divorced when I was 10, and my dad remarried when I was 13. That's when Amanda and her daughter, Shelby, entered the picture. Shelby was 15 when we first met. Blonde, loud, always dressed like she was about to go to a music video shoot. She made it clear from day one that I wasn't really her brother, and that my existence was an inconvenience she was tolerating. I remember once she told her friends, right in front of me, "He's like a pet my mom adopted without asking me." Dad didn't really say much. He was trying hard to keep Amanda happy, and Amanda made it very clear that Shelby came first. She used to refer to us as her two babies, but only one of us ever got the car for school, the extra spending money, or the private birthday dinners. Spoiler, it wasn't me. I moved out the second I turned 18. No college, just needed out. Took a job at a warehouse, then worked my way into night custodial at the local hospital. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid more than most entry-level gigs and came with benefits. Plus, there was something kind of peaceful about cleaning the halls while the world slept. I didn't talk to my dad much after I left. He called maybe once every few months, usually around holidays or when Amanda wanted to brag about Shelby. I stayed polite, distant, not cold, just done hoping for something that wasn't going to happen. Then last year, Shelby got pregnant. The announcement went out like a press release, group texts, Facebook posts, even a printed photo that Amanda mailed to close family. I got one, addressed to Jordan Smith plus guest. Even though I've never had a guest, there were 3 baby showers planned, one for Amanda's friends, one for Shelby's college crowd, and one intimate family gathering at Amanda and Dad's house. I was invited to the last one. It landed on a Saturday in July, right in the middle of one of the busiest weeks we'd had at the hospital all summer. Heat waves meant extra patient traffic, and we were down 2 staff members. I told Amanda a month ahead I couldn't make it, told her work was slammed and I couldn't get coverage. She didn't respond, just heart-reacted the message and never brought it up again. Until the day after the shower. I woke up to 64 messages in the family group chat. It started with a photo dump, balloons, cupcakes, Shelby holding a mommy-to-be sash, Dad giving a thumbs up like he was a Facebook Dad of the Year. And then, buried in the comments, Amanda wrote, "So sad Jordan couldn't be bothered." That was the trigger. Shelby chimed in, not shocked. He always acted too good for family stuff. Then Amanda again. He forgets who helped raise him. And then my favorite, my dad. I didn't want to say it before, but it really hurt that you didn't show up. We've all bent over backward for you. I stared at that message for a long time. I don't know why that one hit the hardest. Maybe because it was the first time he'd claimed to feel hurt over something I didn't do, instead of the things he actively overlooked for years. I didn't reply, not a single word. Just read it, let it sink in, and went back to work that night with a new level of quiet resolve. That was the moment something clicked in me. I'd spent years playing along, showing up for birthdays, dropping by for holidays, buying gifts for Shelby when she didn't even say thank you. And still, I was the ungrateful one. Still the afterthought. Still the kid who never did enough for a family that never showed up for me. Fine. If they thought I was selfish, I'd stop proving otherwise. I went no contact after that. Blocked the group chat. Muted Amanda and Shelby on socials. Even asked Dad not to call unless it was about something urgent. He said, "Don't be dramatic." And I just said, "I'm tired." And then I got to work. Because if they were going to call me ungrateful, I wanted to show them just how much I could accomplish without their approval. After I muted everyone and pulled back from the drama, something inside me settled. I stopped waiting for a version of my dad that never existed. Stopped hoping that Shelby or Amanda would see me as more than a footnote in their curated family photo albums. I just focused on surviving, on saving. I picked up extra shifts. I worked weekends. I skipped vacations. I ate like crap and slept during the day and kept a spreadsheet on my phone labeled Get Out. It tracked every dollar I saved, every overtime hour I logged, every cent I didn't spend on things that used to make me feel temporarily alive, like video games or takeout or nights out with friends I never really fit in with anyway. I'd always had this idea in my head that being better meant being seen, being acknowledged. But now I realized better didn't need a spotlight. It needed discipline. The hospital wasn't glamorous, but it was consistent. When the pandemic hit a few years back, I didn't miss a shift. I cleaned rooms people were afraid to enter. I held phones to patients' ears while their families cried over FaceTime. I stood in the background, wiping down surfaces while nurses broke down from exhaustion. Nobody ever applauded for custodial staff, but I learned how to disappear into places where real life cracked open, and how to carry that silence with me when I left. That silence became my strength. 2 months after the baby shower meltdown, I got approved for a small business grant. I'd been building an idea for a while, custom cleaning kits for caregivers. Not the cheap stuff they sell in bulk, but curated bundles with safe, hospital-grade disinfectants, instructions, gloves, wipes, and resources tailored for home use. Hospitals train you in more than just cleaning. You learn about bacteria, about patient safety, about how little details make a huge difference. I figured if I could turn that into something people could use, I'd be doing more than just mopping floors. I'd be empowering people who felt helpless, like I used to when my mom was sick and nobody told me how to clean around her oxygen machine or sanitize her space without making it feel like a hospital. I didn't tell anyone about the grant. Not my dad. Not anyone. Just cashed it, bought a secondhand delivery van, registered the LLC, and started building the brand. I called it Clean Care. I designed the logo on Canva at 3 a.m. during my lunch break. By month 6, I was shipping kits to homes, hospice centers, and small clinics. I partnered with a few nurses I'd met at work to design add-on cards that explained things in simple terms. How to clean up after chemo, how to disinfect a sick kid's room without over-sanitizing, how to make things feel human again. It didn't go viral. It wasn't sexy, but it worked. Word of mouth picked up. One of the nurses posted about it on Instagram, and suddenly I had orders in 3 states. I hired a part-time driver and a warehouse assistant, both folks from my old hospital job who'd been laid off. A year in, we were breaking even. A year and a half? Profitable. That's when Amanda emailed me. Not a call, not even a real message. Just a forwarded invite to Shelby's kid's second birthday party, with a note that said, "Hope you've had time to reflect." Reflect? Like I'd done something wrong. I deleted it, but it stuck in my brain, like a bad pop song you can't shake. They still thought I was bitter. Still thought I was choosing resentment over family. That's when I decided to stop disappearing. I poured everything into scaling Clean Care, brought in someone to handle marketing, applied for contracts with clinics and elder care centers, even got a booth at a small health expo in downtown Minneapolis, where I now lived full-time. I used the money I'd been saving since I was 19 to buy my first apartment outright. Not a mansion, not flashy, but mine. The same month I closed on the apartment, I got an alert on Facebook. Amanda had posted a GoFundMe. Apparently Shelby's fiancé lost his job, and they were raising money to help them move in with Amanda and my dad, because family always shows up in tough times. I didn't donate, but I watched as Shelby's curated life began to unravel in slow motion. She posted less. Then more cryptically, Amanda stopped bragging about her. My dad tried texting me once, saying, "Would love to catch up," followed by a photo of Shelby's kid holding a sign that said, "I'm 3." I didn't reply, because silence can be an answer too. About 2 years after the baby shower drama, I got invited to a small business award ceremony through a local entrepreneurs group. I didn't expect anything, just showed up in a thrifted blazer and hoped for free snacks. They called my name. Clean Care, Excellence in Community Wellness Innovation. I stood there under a spotlight I hadn't asked for, shook hands, smiled for a photo I didn't think I'd care about. And right there, in the front row, Amanda and Shelby. I didn't even notice them until after the ceremony. Apparently, Amanda's new job was in event logistics. She was working the venue. Shelby was helping with social media. They were just staff, not VIPs, not the center of attention. I walked past them, award in hand. Amanda's eyes widened. Shelby looked down. I nodded. Didn't say a word. But for the first time in my life, they had no idea how to label me. After the awards ceremony, I walked out into the cool night air and just stood there on the sidewalk for a minute, holding the glass trophy like it might shatter if I breathed too hard. I could still feel Amanda's eyes on me, even from behind. That brittle, confused look like she wasn't sure if I was someone she used to know or a ghost she'd accidentally summoned. I didn't look back. I got in my car, drove home, and put the award on the shelf above my desk, right next to the original Get Out spreadsheet I'd printed out and taped there 3 years ago, still smudged with coffee stains and hope. The next morning, I woke up to an email from my dad. Subject, proud. Just one line. Saw you last night. Didn't know what to say. Hope you're doing well. You've built something amazing. I stared at it for a long time. And then I archived it. Not out of anger. Not even out of bitterness anymore. Just clarity. I'd spent so long waiting for moments like this, chasing scraps of validation like a stray dog. And now that it was offered, it felt weirdly hollow. Too late. Too light. You don't unburn bridges. You just learn to swim. A week later, I was back in the grind. Packaging kits. Reviewing inventory. Hiring another part-time employee. Business was steady, but not flashy. I wasn't on magazine covers. I wasn't going viral. I was just doing something good, something that mattered, and doing it well. Then came the invite, this time from Shelby. She DM'd me on Instagram. I hadn't blocked her there, just muted her stories like 2 years ago. The message said, "Hey, I know it's been weird. I saw you at the event. Didn't get a chance to say anything, but congrats. I was wondering if you'd maybe want to come by for dinner sometime. Just us. No pressure." It wasn't mean. It wasn't groveling. Just soft. Measured. Like someone walking on a frozen lake, testing where the cracks might be. I didn't answer. Not right away. But I thought about it. Not because I wanted revenge. That part of me had gotten quieter. Not because I wanted to reconnect either. But maybe I just wanted to see them. To see if anything had really changed. Or if they just wanted to borrow some of whatever I'd built now that they saw it had value. Curiosity's a hell of a drug. So the next week, I showed up. Their house hadn't changed much. Same 2-story place in the suburbs. Same ceramic owl by the door Amanda claimed was for luck. Dad opened it. Looked tired. Smaller, somehow. Like the years had worn him down in places he didn't know how to hide. "Jordan," he said, like the name surprised him. "Hey," I replied. Neutral. Not cold, not warm. He stepped aside, and I walked in. Shelby was in the kitchen setting plates. Amanda wasn't there, which honestly helped. Dinner was weird. Polite. They asked about the business. I answered in short sentences. Shelby said she was doing some freelance PR work, but things were slow. Her boyfriend left a year ago. She was back home. Said it like a confession. My dad mostly nodded. Talked about his knee acting up. Retiring soon. Then, toward the end of the meal, Shelby said something that stuck. "You know," she said, pushing some broccoli around her plate. "I always knew you were smart. I just didn't know how to show it back then." I raised an eyebrow. "Back then," she swallowed. "When we were younger. I was a brat. I know that. You were always so quiet. It was easy to pretend you didn't care. And Mom, well, she made it easy not to look too closely. That part felt more honest than anything else." "I didn't stop caring," I said quietly. "I just stopped asking for space that was never mine to begin with." Dad looked down. The rest of the night passed in awkward, forced smiles. But I left without slamming any doors. Just walked out the same way I walked in, still unsure if any of it meant anything. About a month later, I got an email from the city. One of my bids for a sanitation contract had been approved. Clean Care was going to start supplying custom hygiene kits to low-income senior housing programs downtown. It was the biggest deal I'd ever landed. Game-changing, really. I celebrated by ordering takeout and upgrading my team's health insurance. Didn't post it online. Didn't blast it out. Just kept building. And then, a week later, I got another email from Amanda. Subject, congratulations. No body text. Just a .jpg attachment. It was a photo of the sanitation kit she'd received through the housing program. Apparently, she'd picked up extra event work through the city and was helping staff the distribution day. There it was. My logo. My name. In her hands. Sometimes the best full-circle moments don't come with an audience or a mic drop. Sometimes they're just quiet, private reversals. Poetic little ironies where the person who once made you feel small has to hold proof that you grew past them. I didn't respond. Didn't need to. Because now, Even when I'm not in the room, my work speaks. About a week after Amanda sent that photo, I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. I normally don't answer unknowns, but something told me to pick it up. Jordan. I recognized the voice immediately. Amanda. Yeah. I wasn't sure if you'd answer. I didn't know what to say after everything, but I wanted to say I saw what you've done. With clean care. It's incredible. There was a pause like she was waiting for permission to continue. I didn't give it. Just let the silence stretch. I know I wasn't fair to you, she went on. I didn't see how much pressure we were putting on you back then. And I know it's late, but I'm sorry. It didn't feel like an apology. It felt like a warm-up. And I was right. We're kind of in a tough spot, she said after a beat. Your dad's retirement didn't go the way he hoped. Some investments fell through. And Shelby's been looking for stable work, but you know how things are. Anyway, we were wondering if maybe you had something at Clean Care. There it was. The ask. I didn't speak right away. I was staring at a document on my laptop, a new onboarding form for a full-time logistics manager. It was a real opening, and it paid well. Benefits, PTO, even a relocation stipend. But in that moment, I thought about 22-year-old me, hunched over a mop in a hospital at 2 a.m., trying to figure out how to make rent and whether I'd ever be anything other than invisible. I appreciate the call, I finally said, but I've already got someone in mind for that spot. It wasn't a lie. I did. A kid from my old high school who'd been delivering for me part-time. He reminded me of me, the quiet kind. Always early, always careful, never assumed anything. Amanda sighed. Of course. I understand. I just thought, well, family. That word. It didn't hit the way it used to. It wasn't a rope anymore. It was a chain someone kept trying to wrap around my ankle every time I got ahead. I hope things turn around for you all, I said. And I meant it. But I didn't offer help. After that, things went quiet again. No messages. No calls. I figured they'd finally stop trying to reel me back in now that I had nothing left to give them. But I underestimated how desperation works. It was a Tuesday morning when Shelby showed up at my office. No appointment. Just walked into the lobby and asked for me by name. I almost didn't recognize her at first. She looked tired. Dressed up but off. Like someone trying to play a part that didn't quite fit anymore. Can I talk to you? She asked, not even trying to smile. I motioned for her to come in. She didn't sit. Just stood there in front of my desk like we were still kids, and she was bracing for me to tattle to Mom. I know Amanda called, she started. And I know it was probably awkward, but I didn't know she was going to ask you for anything. I didn't want to, but I'm out of options. I didn't say anything. Just waited. I have a kid now, she said, voice cracking a little. And he deserves better than what I can give him right now. I've applied everywhere. People Google me and see old party photos and no real experience, and they pass. She took a breath. You built something. You made it work. And I hate that I didn't see that in you before. I hate that I treated you like you were disposable. Her eyes started to well up. I'm not asking for a job. I just wanted to say that to your face. I needed to. I believed her. Maybe not completely, but enough to feel something shift. And maybe that was all she needed. Thank you, I said quietly. She nodded. Didn't push further, just turned and walked out. A few days later, I sent her an email, not with a job offer, but with a contact at a local nonprofit that trained single moms in digital admin work and paid for certifications. Told her I'd cover the first month of training if she got in. No reply. But the next week, I saw her name on the training roster. I didn't expect a thank you. I didn't need one. Meanwhile, Clean Care kept growing. We landed a distribution deal with a regional pharmacy chain. I moved into a slightly bigger office, hired a business manager so I could actually breathe for the first time in years. And then one day, while scrolling through old files, I found a photo from when I was 17. Me at the kitchen table, books spread out, headphones in, while Amanda stood in the background making a cake for Shelby's birthday. You could see the whole dynamic in that photo. Who was seen? Who was background noise? I printed it out and taped it inside my desk drawer. Not as a reminder to stay angry, but as a way to remember where I came from. Why I work the way I do. Why I treat every employee like they matter. Like they aren't invisible. Because no one deserves to feel like a placeholder in their own life. A year passed. Clean Care wasn't just stable anymore. It was thriving. We had contracts in 4 states, a rotating warehouse crew, and a small but loyal admin team that could have run the place without me if I disappeared tomorrow. It felt good. Not flashy. Not drop the mic kind of good. Just solid, satisfying, everyday kind of good. But sometimes, when things quieted down, the memories crept in. That childhood ache, the feeling of being second, the couch sleeping, the dismissive chuckles, the you wouldn't understand moments from Amanda or Shelby when they thought I wasn't listening. Or worse, when they knew I was, and just didn't care. I didn't want to live in those memories, but I didn't want to erase them either. They built me, brick by brick. Then came the invitation. It was a group text from my dad. Family barbecue this weekend. Shelby's bringing her son. Amanda's making wings. Hope you can come. Would love to see you. No pressure. No manipulation. Just simple. I stared at it for a while. A younger me would have jumped to analyze it. Was this guilt? Performance? A ploy to reel me back, and now that they knew I had something worth bragging about? But I didn't feel anger. Not really. I just felt ready. Like I could walk in, not as someone needing approval, but as someone who knew exactly who he was. So I went. It was in the backyard of the same house I grew up in, but smaller than I remembered. Or maybe I was just taller now, emotionally, if not physically. Amanda greeted me at the door. There was a long beat before she spoke. Thanks for coming, she said. You look good. You too, I said, which wasn't a lie. She looked older, more weathered, but not in a bad way. Just human. Shelby was in the back, bouncing her kid on her hip while balancing a soda in the other hand. When she saw me, she smiled. Not big, not fake, just tired and genuine. Like someone who'd stopped pretending and didn't expect you to either. Jordan, she said. This is Eli. The kid stared at me like I was some kind of mythical figure. Kids are funny like that. I crouched down, smiled, and said, Hey man, you like trucks? He nodded hard. I pointed at the corner of the yard where my old toy bin had been turned into a mini garage for Hot Wheels. He ran toward it. No hesitation. Thanks for the training lead, Shelby said quietly. I'm working part-time now. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. And I like it. I'm glad, I said. And I meant it. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of grilled food, cheap paper plates, and the kind of shallow conversation you make when everyone's trying too hard not to say the wrong thing. But it wasn't hostile, just careful. Near the end of the night, Dad pulled me aside. I don't expect you to forgive us, he said, looking at the grass. Hell, I'm not sure I'd forgive me either. But I'm proud of you. Really. And if you ever want to talk, I'm here. It was the kind of thing I used to dream about hearing when I was younger. And now that it had finally been said, I didn't feel elated or broken. I just felt done. That chapter? Closed. I gave him a nod. Thanks. And that was enough. A few days later, I went back to the office and found a letter waiting for me. No return address. Just a thick envelope with my name, handwritten. Inside was a card. No signature. Just one line. You turned silence into something louder than we ever deserved. Respect. I don't know who sent it. Could have been Amanda. Could have been Shelby. Could have been no one in my family at all. Maybe just someone who knew. I taped it on the back of my office door. Let it fade with the sun over time. Because here's the thing they never tell you about revenge. It doesn't always come with fireworks. It doesn't always end in applause. Sometimes, it just looks like peace. Like your own apartment, your own schedule, your own breath, without someone telling you it's too loud. Sometimes, the real win is waking up and not feeling the weight of someone else's doubts in your lungs. Clean Care kept growing. I launched a mentorship program for kids from low-income households who wanted to learn logistics, tech, or entrepreneurship. We didn't advertise it. Just passed the word to guidance counselors and community centers. One of the first applicants? A shy teenager who reminded me way too much of myself. He showed up early to the info session, kept adjusting his sleeves like he didn't belong there. I made sure he knew he did. People are gonna underestimate you, I told him. Let them. You're not building for their approval. He nodded, quiet, but focused. And in that moment, I felt something click into place. Because all of this, Clean Care, the trophies, the full circle moments, they were nice. But they weren't the point. The point was that I didn't need them anymore. I'd built a life I didn't have to escape from. One I didn't have to explain or justify. One where I could take up space, fully, without flinching. And no one, no family member, no teacher, no boss or bully, could take that from me. Not anymore. Not ever again.